It's time now for Anderson Speedway's Track Talk. Catch up with everything that's going on at Anderson Speedway with Rick Dawson and Gary Mong.
Good evening. Welcome to Track Talk. I got choked up.
I did. I was getting ready to speak for you.
Rick Dawson, Gary Mong. We are at the Mountain Small Special Events Studio, having a great time.
We are.
Well, let's say a good time. A great would be a lot more exciting than what it is.
Okay.
It was one of those weekends. It's just
It was hot.
It was hot, and probably too hot Sunday to be racing. And a lot of you folks, and I don't blame you for staying home out of the weather. We didn't have a really big crowd Sunday night.
But the ones that did show up did see some good racing.
All weekend,
Yes.
The racing was great.
It sure was.
And I'm going to go into a little bit of controversy as we go through this, talking about the wing sprints and the state of racing and why I think there's issues. But we started out, we're going to recap real quickly.
Let's recap. Before you get on what I say.
You put an R
Oh,
in
I did.
cap.
Well, that could be true when we get to the part you want to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You see?
We had the fastest cars on asphalt at
Did.
the racetrack Saturday night, the Must-See Racing Extreme Sprint Series, and Jimmy McCune came down from Toledo, and it's pretty much the cream of the crop all night long. He set fast time. Track was hot. Times weren't down where they normally are, but it was still 10.6 seconds. It's hard to say that that's slow.
Yeah. That was moving.
And Chris Neuenswanger came down from Fort Wayne, and he set second quick time. And then a rookie, very first wing sprint car race, Grant Galloway got in Jerry Powell's number 12 and did a bang-up job all night. He qualified third. First heat race, Anthony McCune won it, and Jeff Bloom,
The old veteran.
winner of the Little 500s multiple times, he finished first in the second heat race. And then in the feature, Jeff started on the pole and was out in front and is difficult to pass.
He is.
And I can't remember how many laps he led, but he and Chris Neuenswanger and Jimmy McCune were pretty much outpacing the whole field. They hadn't lapped the field yet, but they started getting into slower cars, and it wasn't Jimmy. I think it was Chris Neuenswanger that got around Jeff first. And then
I believe you're right.
Then something happened to.
Or was it Grant? Wasn't Grant in the 12 car?
It might have been.
I think it was Grant. It was Grant.
It
Yes.
was. He actually led in
Yes.
his first race.
Yes.
He was leading the race.
It was Grant.
And Chris Neuenswanger's car, something happened to it,
Yes,
and
and
he
he
had to pull off. But then Jimmy McCune followed Grant Galloway several laps, and then got around him.
I think it was
on
during that
side.
caution when we had the 6 car that hit the wall.
Yeah, it was on the restart.
Yes.
And Jimmy just flew by him on the outside and never looked back. But Grant Galloway finished second. Jeff Bloom held on to finish third. Brad Wyatt fourth, and Anthony McCune finished fifth. But hats off to Grant Galloway. I talked to him after the race, and he was just beaming back there. He said, "How was that for my first time?"
I didn't realize that was his first time in a wing sprint car.
And Jerry Powell, great guy. I have a lot of fun with
Yes.
him, and obviously a veteran Little 500 car owner. Has got to be very proud of him and look for this young man to possibly, and I haven't talked to him about it, so to probably be in the Little 500, maybe even in one of Jerry's
We
cars.
know how Jerry feels about the Little 5.
He's passionate about it.
He is.
A lot of them. I mean, you can't have these cars show up, and what the discussion of the night is the Little 500.
It's always about the Little 5.
We'll get back to the wing sprints a little later.
Okay.
We also had a big weekend for Pro Compacts with the Vores Compact Touring Series. It was their big Challenge Week championships. We had 28 cars on Saturday night, and I think 25 or 26 on Sunday. Great racing. I mean, just great racing. And the 27 car of Dan Irvine was the top of the field until about midway through that second feature on Sunday, but he set fast time Saturday night.
I think he set a record, if I'm not mistaken, a
It
new
was
track record. First time he'd been at Anderson Speedway. I got to briefly talk to him and loved the track.
Gary Eaton won the first heat race. Chris Jennings from Richmond won the second one. And Adam Lee, who has won several features at our track this year, was fastest in the third heat. And Trent Gosser, one of our regulars in the Pro Compact, the Markham Welding Pro Compacts, won the fourth heat. And then in the feature, Trent Gosser
showed him how to do it. He sure did.
I don't know if it was just his veteran sense on Anderson Speedway or what, but with all these cars out here, that is not an easy task.
It's not.
I mean, they run 2, 3 wide just about anywhere on the racetrack you look. You can see a 2
Yes.
or 3 car battle. And these cars, even though they're smaller, they still go pretty fast, and it is fun to watch them. I tell you, they're just...
It's a great organization, great group of guys that come and race with the Vores Compact Touring Series, so expect good things from them in the future.
Yeah, Dan Redmond and Steve Vores that run that organization, it's just a class act. Anything I need, they're Johnny on the spot to do it. They're always asking. You can't hardly have a conversation with them, but what they don't say, well, what can we do to help?
Right.
And it was a good, safe race, and finishing 8th with a famous last name, and now is 21 years old, Tommy Bigelow.
He was 21 on Saturday, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
And thanks to our good friends at Applebee's.
Yes.
They sponsored the event, and there's a big party there Saturday night after we got done racing, and Sunday morning a lot of the drivers were out there and had a great time. So thanks to them. And then we also had the Thunder Roadsters. Doug Duggar out-qualified John Robbins, who's been pretty dominant in that area, but John was pretty dominant in the feature again.
He sure was.
What's this 20? Although that's a heat race, Rodney Oliver, who led most of that heat race.
You're gonna get him again, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, I'm starting to sense something here. I think he's driving.
You think he's actually got something
I
out
think
of
he's
that?
learned how to drive.
Now, Rick.
No, I'm telling you, Rodney was tough in a legend car.
Yes, he was.
And he's really getting a hold of this Thunder Roadster. And
He sure is.
And doing well.
But he's having a ball doing
He
this.
finished second in the heat race. And then in the feature, John Robbins won it. Dave Osborne hopped in the 4 car, finished second. Marty Griffin, who is a champion in this division, finished third. Rodney Oliver finished 4th, and Mike Meyer came back, and he finished in 5th place. So
That was Saturday night.
That was Saturday night.
Yes.
A good night of racing. We had a good crowd Saturday night.
We did.
But
Weather was great Saturday night. It was still. I mean, there wasn't much of a breeze, but it was still a nice, comfortable night set out and watch racing.
when the sun was under the clouds and a little bit overcast, it wasn't too bad. There was enough of a breeze
Yes.
outside of the track that it wasn't brutally hot. But Sunday afternoon, it got pretty tough.
It got a little
until
toasty.
when we were practicing and qualifying. And Sunday we had the CRA Late Model Sportsman and the Vores Compact Touring Series for their second event.
And I believe that was the final time for this season for the CRA Late Model Sportsman.
I think so.
Okay.
And some will be happy, some will be sad
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Didn't have a lot of cars. We had 12 for a series. That's low. Greg Van All set fast time with Jack Dossie the third being right behind him. I think there was only like a tenth and a half second. What is a tenth and a half?
Tenth and
a second behind Greg Van Alst. I used to be an accountant.
Yes. Accountant.
And then we had a feature, which was, even though we only had 12 cars, it was a good feature to watch for the fans. Greg Van Alst and Jason Atkinson were putting on a show early. I mean, they were kind of out. Jack Dossie, the third, his car, he had to go to the pits a couple times. His car just wasn't right. He was working the outside, and then it didn't work. Billy Van Meter, his car had some issues. J.P. Crabtree's another one. I think he was in the pits 2 or 3 times
Yes,
and
he
came
was.
back and finished 6th in this race. But Charlie's car owner, Jeff Markham, the 28 car, sat on the pole and got out in the lead, and Jeff is kind of like Jeff Bloom. Sometimes it's tough to pass.
He's a seasoned veteran of the track.
And it was pretty obvious, or it wasn't real obvious. No, it wasn't. Let's just take that back. Jeff, okay, let's go back. Who am I thinking of? Greg Van Alst.
Okay.
Let me get my thoughts. I have not been drinking, I swear. Greg Van Alst was right on his tail the whole way. And for 56 laps, I think it was, he would get under him. He never did really try on the outside, but it's kind of hard to go on the outside because Charlie kind of go low in the corner and then go up in the middle of the corner.
Jeff, you mean?
Jeff. I
Yes.
keep saying Charlie. Charlie don't drive.
Yes.
Well, he might, but Jeff kept going up behind the corner. In fact, early in the race, it looked like Jeff was even a little loose, and I'm thinking, well, Greg's just being patient until he gets real loose, and then he's got plenty of room. Along about lap 56, he didn't get loose, but Greg had door almost. He had his front nose almost up to his doors, clipped him in turn 2, and didn't spin him, but got him enough sideways that he just lost all of his momentum. And then uncharacteristic of Jeff, even during the caution, took advantage of deciding to smack Greg, and then after he got done spinning, that wasn't good enough, and he was straightened up. I mean, Greg did, in my opinion, didn't drive clear through him, but he could have backed off maybe a little sooner. I don't drive race cars, so I don't know.
Right.
But it was very apparent that Jeff just turned down into him, messed up the right front suspension on his car, and then limped around turn 4 and then waylaid him again under caution, which that's you don't do that at Anderson Speedway, but it wasn't our race, so I don't know what CRA is going to do. I know 2 weeks ago when Jason Atkinson did it in the street stock, they put him on probation. But anyway,
we'll see what happens here.
Jason Atkinson led the rest of the race with Billy Van Meter behind him, Jack Dawsey. Young man named Matthew Parsons, who drove a great race, was 4th across the line. And then in post-race tech, they found a major violation on the 7 car, and so I don't know how they ended up doing it, whether he was disqualified or relegated to the tail of the field. But Billy Van Meter got the win. Jack Dawsey, after twice in the pits, came back and finished 2nd. Matthew Parsons was 3rd. Tony Brody was 4th, and J.P. Crabtree, again, after being in the pits so many times, ended up finishing 5th. So it was a good race to watch. Ronnie Rose, it was good to see him back. Car, you could tell, just wasn't right yet. I mean, if you'll recall, I think it was the Friday before the Redbud in that CRA race that Dave Duncan in the 1 car got loose on the start, and Ronnie ended up driving over Dave,
right.
And it really messed up Ronnie's car, and I know they've been working hard to get it back. So they still got some bugs to work out of it, but it's good to see Ronnie back in the car. But congratulations to Billy Van Meter in the CRA late models.
I believe that was his first win of the season in the.
That's right. His dad's won, but Billy hasn't.
Yes.
Then in the Vores Compact Touring Series, Dan Irvine did it again, set fast time. This was the record, 4.610 in a front-wheel drive past tech, so that time will stand. Jared Keller was actually second fast qualifier. First heat, a gentleman by the name of Dave Rutner won it. Chris Jennings won the second heat, and Andy Jennings won the third heat. We only had 3 heats on Sunday. And then in the feature, it was a great race between the 18 car of Gary Eaton and the 27 car of Irvine. And on one of the last restarts, Irvine had actually chosen the outside on the restart, and he had I guess he didn't realize or whatever, but when he went to take off, he had a tire go down. And so the 18 car inherited the lead, and that was about all she wrote.
Wow.
But it was a great race on back. Gary Eaton won, Don Rutner finished second, Ron Masters finished third. Brian Slavey has been running really good with this series. Finished fourth, and Chris Jennings, good friends from Richmond, finished in 5th place, and that was in the Vores Compact Touring Series. So
did they let you know who the overall winner was for the weekend?
They probably did, but I didn't know it.
I was wondering because that Gary Eaton, I think he finished maybe second or third Saturday and winning Sunday. He might have been the overall winner, but I didn't know if he was told officially or not.
Last week there was also some other racing with the CRA Super Series. They ran in They ran with the Kalamazoo Clash cars up at Kalamazoo Speedway. They only had 17 cars, but Allie Kern got her first victory, I believe it was. Great car, and Scott Neal Racing's number 4. Good to see that, and I'm told she was up there in the top 5 the entire race. I wasn't there, obviously, but I was told John Hunter Nemechek and Grant Quinlan was leading the race, and John Hunter Nemechek just decided it's all or nothing, and I guess I've been told that's what he's told in the car. You either win the race or you take it home in a box, and that's what he did.
Take it home in a box.
And, well, no, but he took the leader out, and this, I think, and by all accounts, is that I've been told this is what's happened. After the incident, instead of going back out there and running and continuing to put on a show for fans, he just took his toys and went to his pits and got out of the car.
Really?
But Grant Quinlan hung in there and ended up finishing in 5th place. So congratulations to him. John Hunter Nemechek needs to get the eye out of his race team and start thinking about the fans and the people and not just himself, or he will go not very far on his name.
That's exactly right.
His dad wasn't that way, and so I'm sure that they had a discussion. At least I don't think his dad.
And that was the Wednesday night at Kalamazoo.
That was Wednesday night, and then they raced Saturday night at Flat Rock Speedway. Only had 15 cars up there. It's a little tough this time of year. It's August and September, late in the season. A lot of teams that are low financed have exhausted their funds, or some of them are saving them for big races. But Hunter Bays won the Flat Rock 125, 7-up 125 at Flat Rock Speedway up in Michigan. That's one of Ron Drager and Arcus tracks.
Cool.
So congratulations to him. Dan Leake, 2nd. Brian Campbell, 3rd. Scott Hance was 4th. And Allie Kern finished 7th in that race. So
she had a pretty good week.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like there were any accidents, so there weren't any cars tore up. So they're ready to go this weekend. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about wing sprints and what happened this past weekend, along with some stuff that's coming up. We got a big weekend coming at Anderson Speedway. You're listening to Anderson Speedway's Track Talk. We will be right back.
Heart attack, stroke, serious injury. A sudden health crisis can happen to anyone at any time. So when bad things happen, choose good people. St. Vincent Anderson Regional Hospital has the area's most advanced emergency care, with a state-designated Level 3 trauma center, an internationally accredited chest pain center for heart attack patients, and advanced certification for primary stroke care. We have all the resources to deliver the care you need for any serious or life-threatening emergency. St. Vincent Anderson Regional is the only emergency department in the area with an on-site helicopter. And our $27 million state-of-the-art surgery pavilion opens later this year. Bad things can happen to anyone. Thankfully, good people are ready to help. Choose emergency care from St. Vincent Anderson Regional, the spirit of caring. Visit stvincent.org/Anderson Regional to learn more.
Honey, stop! Oh my gosh, that's Diggity's back there.
You mean the new Diggity's Frozen Treat Factory?
I heard it's unbelievable. Everybody's talking about it. They have everything yummy.
Yeah, I heard they have ice cream, yogurt, custard, sorbet.
And gelato, plus fruit smoothies, and that's just the beginning.
I heard Diggity's has over 250 toppings, not 30 or 40 like those other places, and you can even get the candy to go separately.
We can eat outside on their huge patio by the fire, too.
Okay, let's see. Frozen yogurt, ice cream, custard, sorbet, and gelato with 250 toppings, or a plain old frozen yogurt shop with limited toppings?
Diggity's it is!
Diggity's wants to cater your event. Diggity's can set up at your event inside or out and provide delicious smoothies, frozen cappuccinos, candies, and frozen treats to your guests. Diggity's is perfect for weddings, company picnics, group outings, sporting events, festivals, you name it, just call Diggity's. 765-393-0033 today for more information.
MoFab Incorporated, where imagination is the only limitation. We serve residential, commercial, industrial, and municipal customers as your metals warehouse and fabrication center. We do all types of fabrication using the latest technology with unmatched speed, accuracy, and durability on any substrate. Our ornamental division handles all types of interior and exterior work, including rails, fences, gates, and more. So contact us at mofabbing.com to fabricate your dreams of tomorrow today.
You won't believe these deals? They're too good to be true. You cannot miss this special. We're going to give you so much off, you won't believe it. Actual mileage may vary. Price does not include tax, title, and license. Some assembly required. Batteries not included. Objects in the mirror are closer than they appear. Keep in a cool, dark place. It is highly unlikely that any sentiments expressed above in any way coincide with those of it.
Wait, what'd they just say? At Auto Farm McCrocklin Ford in Middletown, we're not here to give you fast-talking deals. We take the time to make sure you understand what you're buying to make sure it meets your budget. If you're at Auto Farm McCrocklin Ford in Middletown, you're at the right place.
This program is a presentation by Anderson Speedway. The content contained in this program is that of the host and guests, and not this station.
Toe the line. I don't know this one.
It sounds familiar.
It must be Rush. It's some of Wayne Tipping. It's Bon Jovi? Really? It's my favorite band.
That's what he just said.
Wow. We're back.
You obviously haven't heard that song.
Yeah. I am off my game tonight.
You are.
I can't recognize Bon Jovi. It's not my favorite Bon Jovi song.
Well, let's get on your soapbox.
No.
You don't want to yet?
I'm going to talk about this weekend first.
Okay, then. All right.
Retro Weekend. It's
Yes.
one of the fun ones at the track. We've got the Vintage Old Time, Midwest Vintage Old Time Race Club coming in again with all their cars. They're going to do a little practicing from, I think it's 2 to 3. Then they're going to be on display all evening for the fans, and then also probably do a couple of laps at intermission. In addition to that, we've got a big car show that's going to be going on at the track also during this time with the awards. You can go, if you're interested, if you have an old car you would like to enter in the show, just go to our website. There's a link to the entry form. Love to have a bunch of those out there, cars, tractors, and motorcycles and trucks, I think. That's what Amy's got on there. And then we've also got the our annual event at the Speedway, the Grant Fritz Greg Dietza Memorial Legends Race.
Which is what, the 18th running now?
Probably.
Something like that?
It is a national qualifier for the Legends, so we'll have more Legends than normal here. We've also got our Street Stocks back, Indy Fast Karts, and Thunder Roadsters will be back again this Saturday night.
So we'll see Rodney hopefully try to win another heat race or maybe a feature.
I hope.
I would. It would be something to see.
I can't root for somebody to win a race, but it's good to see somebody new or somebody that's really trying hard to be successful. And Rodney will get there, but I don't think it's not necessarily all about winning with Rodney. I mean, all racers want to win, but it's about going out there and having a good time. And all those Thunder Roaster guys, Marty Griffin, Doug, all them guys have a great time doing it. Ross, the whole group. So we look forward to, and I had a conversation with John Hagan, who's the president of INEX, that sanctions those and the Legends here a week ago. And we're working on some stuff that may be even bigger next year.
Good.
So if you're interested in getting into racing, pretty economical, Thunder Roasters and Legends, and I'll hook you up with Doug Duggar, and he'll make you a heck of a deal.
Yes.
This Saturday night, the pit gates open at 3:30. Front gates and practice begins at 5 o'clock. Qualifying, that says 5 o'clock, but it's actually 6:30. And then we will start racing at 8 o'clock. And then the week after that is our big sesquicentennial night. We'll talk a lot about it next Tuesday night on Track Talk, but it'll be $5 for all fans.
Oh, wow.
A week from Saturday. And then 2 weeks, we've got wing sprints with 100 lap of racing, 2 25-lap qualifiers, a 50-lap feature. We also got the Winged Outlaws figure eights.
It's wing night, isn't it?
Yes, coming to Speedway.
Wing oval, wing 8.
Fast cars all night. And then on Sunday of that weekend, we have IBF Championship Wrestling with Rikishi and Barbarian and a bunch of guys. And a very, very economic way to come out and have some fun on Labor Day weekend at the Speedway. Now to the wing sprints. And it's not uncommon. I've seen it happen in several different series and divisions in racing throughout the years. But right now it is critical because it is expensive to race. I don't care what division, if it's front-wheel drives to super late models to wing sprints, it's expensive to race. And so there's not a lot of teams that can even do it.
Right.
Let alone have to be able to pick and choose between what series you want to race on that's racing on the same night. I've seen it happen with the modifieds. I've seen it happen with street stocks and front-wheel drives. I've seen it happen several times. You know, you've got Auto Value Wing Sprints in Michigan. You've got Jim Hanks Must-See Racing Wing Sprints in Michigan. You've got Davey Hamilton with his national tour, which is not quite as big a factor, but he's aligned himself with Tom Hartz on Auto Value. And it's become a feud. One will say they're not doing it, and the other to the other one, and the other one will deny it, and the whole 9 yards. But the fact of the matter is, and I have issues with the promoter at Fort Wayne, did before, really have them now, but our schedule goes out really early in the year, and they purposely scheduled a wing sprint car race for Auto Value last Saturday night against our race. Turns out it didn't help anybody. It never does.
It split evenly, didn't it, is what you were telling me?
Yeah, they had 12 cars, we had 12 cars, and there was probably 4 or 5 up there, names I recognize that would have been at our track.
Yes.
Had that not been going on, the number one name was Aaron Pierce, and I don't fault Aaron at a bit. I haven't talked to Aaron, but he was put in a bad position of having to choose, and the only reason I'm sure he went up there is because he's leading the points in Auto Value. But continually through the last couple of years, I was going to get these guys together last winter because I smelled it coming, and I should have. And now they're just fighting against each other, and there's not enough cars out there to fight.
That's right.
So I have been pretty insistent with Jim Hanks with Must-See Racing, who's a good friend, but business is business, and Tom Hartzell of Auto Value, and Davey Hamilton, who I've had a pretty good relationship with. We're all 4 going to go in a room, and I told Jim we're going to lock the door, and either somebody's going to die or we're going to come out with an agreement to work together that's verifiable, and if somebody steps off the curb, they're going to get knocked clear off the curb when it happens, because it is not fair to the people that pay their way, which is the fans and the competitors.
Yes.
And I hate seeing our competitors put in that position. I hate our fans not being able to see good full field of cars.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying you have to have 20 or 25 cars to have a good race. We proved that this past weekend. It's what do you want? You want to see a bunch of cars? You want to see good racing?
Right.
I want to see, personally, good racing. If you got a bunch of cars, it's just a bunch of cars.
It can be caution filled.
Yeah,
this way it's not.
Sometimes
we
not
had
even
one
racing.
Saturday night in that 50-lap feature. And good racing to boot.
I mean, it's a tough business, and you gotta walk a fine line, but you got to cooperate. Richard Deaton from Salem called me. You know, Jim Hanks was down there 2 weeks ago with Must-See Racing. Only had 9 cars, and only 8 of them started, and I think 5 finished on that half mile.
Oh,
he's livid too. We've got to get it together. If they don't, we have the playground. I don't like to throw weight or ego around, but
you've said that many times.
It's our playground, and if they want playgrounds, all that has to happen is our these track owners to decide we're not paying your outrageous rates for just 12 cars.
That's exactly right.
So that's my soapbox. If you got a comment on that or some suggestions on how we could do something with it, give me a call or email me. That's fine.
Let's recap for Saturday.
First, we're going to say hi to Aunt Jenny.
Hi, Aunt Jenny.
Listening.
Hope you're doing well.
This Saturday, Retro Weekend at Anderson Speedway. Come out early, watch the vintage cars practice between 2 and 3. We have, and also take advantage of the car show. We've got the Grant Fritz, Greg Dietzen Memorial Race with the Legend Cars, Street Stocks, the Indy Fast Carts, and Thunder Roasters. Gates open at 5, racing at 8. No charge until 5 o'clock. So you can come out and watch the practice and look at the car show. Have a good time with us at, pardon me,
Anderson Speedway.
At Anderson Speedway. For Gary Mong, I'm Rick Dawson. We appreciate you spending the time with us this evening. We'll be back here same time, same stations next week. Have a great week, and we'll see you at the track.